If you want to grow a blog from 0 to 6 figures in revenue per month as a one-person business, then steal this content strategy. It's designed to focus on the most effective route to make sales fast. So even if you're writing content on your own on evenings and weekends, you can use this and know you're not wasting your time. Simply follow the steps and see results. And to prove it works, this is the exact same process I'm using to grow my own one-person blog in my spare time, as well as techniques I use for my work as head of content for a training platform with over 480,000 members. Trust me on this, I've been writing content online for around 11 years now, and the reason these methods work is because it goes against most of the popular advice, and instead focuses on a lot of easy wins that you've probably never even tried. In this video, I'll show you how traditional content marketing strategy works, and when you should avoid this as a solopreneur, how my method works and what content you need to write in what sequence to maximize your sales while growing traffic, as well as some additional bonus tasks to blow the doors off and make your life far easier. To understand all this though, we first need to look at the difference between burrito vans and shopping malls. So I don't know what it's like where you live, but in my town the mall is still a popular place with literally thousands of people visiting them every single day. However, even though these places are incredibly busy, you'll still see restaurants in the food court close down. So why is this? It's because large volumes of traffic on its own is not a guarantee of sales or success. The mall might be packed, but it's competitive, and some of the restaurants in there are chain stores with large funding and cheap prices, so it's hard to compete against them. The problem, of course, is that most people approach content marketing from this same perspective of bigger is better. They try to target the super competitive search keywords with the largest traffic, and let's be honest, that's not easy to do. The reality though is that you can have a tenth of their traffic and make far more money if you're smart about the content you create.
Smart.
For example, take the burrito van. It can be run by a single person. Mexican food is super tasty, and you can make a lot of sales each day by simply driving to an office block and setting up for the lunch break rush, thanks to the low competition and the hungry audience. And that there is how this system works. We're going to ignore those larger, super competitive keywords that are insane to rank for now anyway. And instead we're targeting the easy wins, the pieces of content that people search for just before they're about to buy so we can steal competitor sales, or even help our own audience decide to choose us. The content that helps remove objections, improves things work for people who have doubts. The product searches that fit your offer but are not insanely competitive. The content that helps your audience solve problems and share how your product can help even further. Basically, we focus on all the stuff that's usually at the bottom or middle of the customer funnel. It's not only easy to rank for, but it can help you make more sales. Then we work our way backwards towards the more hard to rank stuff as our blog grows and can actually compete. So easy wins now, harder wins later, and all stuff we can achieve if we're writing on our own or part of a small team. So let's get into it. We always want to show up when someone searches for our product, offer, or service does. This is because if people are actively searching for it, then they're very close to buying. However, sometimes the search terms for what we sell can be super competitive. So rather than target these more difficult mall terms and never show up in the results, we can be smarter instead and use our burrito van approach. What I mean by this is we can optimize our sales pages, service pages, product pages, whatever, to target search terms that are far easier to rank for. These are usually longer tail keywords of 3 or 4 words that are more specific, but still tie into our offer. This way we can not only show up in the results, but still appeal to our ideal audience. For example, I have a mini course on how I use ChatGPT as an AI writing assistant. It helps me create content faster and easier, and it saves me around 210 hours a year from writing and editing. However, if I tried to rank for the keyword AI writing tool, I probably would never see traffic from it. Obviously, that would suck. So let's get more specific and see what other options are available. And boom, here we have the keyword ChatGPT AI writing assistant. This will be perfect for my sales page, and it has very little competition. Sure, it only has 60 searches a month, but that's okay. The reason I say that it's fine is that these tools often underestimate the traffic that these keywords actually get. In fact, I've seen keywords with 0 estimated traffic drive thousands of visits. Not only that though, but even if it was just 60 searches a month, it's still far better to get 60 visits a month from someone who is interested in your product and it fits their needs than it is to get no traffic at all because you've targeted a term that's too difficult. Speaking of meeting the user needs though, my course that I mentioned literally teaches you how to write using ChatGPT as an AI writing assistant for content marketing, so I couldn't have wished for a better, more specific keyword for what I sell. This is important because you need the long tail term that you choose to still fit your offer in some way, so that when the audience searches and lands on it, they get what they want, otherwise they'll leave. So yeah, this keyword is perfect. It fits my offer, it's low competition, and it's easy traffic. All I need to do now is optimize my sales page for this term, and it'll start to rank and get sales. That being said, I'll get far more sales and traffic if I can build backlinks to that sales page. Even with the growth of AI search, backlinks from other websites to your site are still important. This is because they're used as a signal by search engines, your readers, and even the new AI search tools, which show that your site can be trusted, so you have to have them. So how do we get backlinks? Well, there's three methods that I like to use. Two of them take a little time, so we can add them into this process later in the video. The first one, though, only takes 5 minutes per day, so you can start doing it now while you write the rest of your content. Here's how it works. Journalists and reporters are constantly writing new content for their websites. However, they don't want to just copy and paste the same information that everyone else has. So to help them stand out, they will often speak to experts on their article topic and include unique quotes or bits of information, as well as link to those experts' websites. I say expert, but often it's just them looking for someone with a particular level of experience or knowledge. I got a backlink once just for answering what kind of holiday break I had for winter. So I probably got zero traffic from it, but I did get a backlink that helped my other content rank. Anyways, because it would take hours for the reporters to reach out to people all the time, instead they list their requests on websites that get quoted and help a B2B writer instead. They used to use Harrow, but it's no longer around. Anyway, the requests look like this. They let you know the article topic, the type of people that they want to get quotes from, the question that they want answered, and the website that the article is going to be featured on. This way you'll know where you'll get that link from. So all you have to do is create an account on these source sites, log in each day and look at the journalist requests, and then answer any that you can that are relevant. So now that you have some links coming in, let's start writing your content. The first articles that you need to create are comparison guides. Best X products for Y, your product versus X competitor, competitor versus competitor with you included, etc. Why would we write these first? Simply because the only people who ever search for these type of guides are people who are super close to making a purchase. However, they're not entirely sure if they found the right choice for them, and so they want to do a last minute check to make sure they're making the right decision. The thing is, the competition for these type of posts is usually super low, much lower than other types of keywords that you would go for. This means that you can write these and literally steal a customer away from a competitor. They could just be about to buy with a credit card in hand, do a quick search, find and read your guide, and then buy from you instead. It's such a simple way to get more sales. For example, Jasper AI is an AI writing tool with a lot of customers. If we check for comparison type searches of that tool inside of Ahrefs, we can see that 50 people per month are looking for alternatives to it, and the competition for that search term is super low. However, like I said earlier, the traffic estimates are usually wrong. We can see that the number one post for this term gets around 1,300 visits a month, and the actual traffic is probably double that. So all we need to do is create guides like this so they're competing options to our offer, rank them, and we'll see more sales. There are some nuances on how to write these, but the main things are to always be honest, to point out what you have that the competitor doesn't, what's your point of difference, and also to point out features that they have but you don't. Now, I know what you might be thinking, why would we tell them what we're missing? That makes us look bad compared to them, right? Actually, no, it just makes you look trustworthy. You see, for the person who wanted the feature, they were never going to buy from you, but they'll definitely recommend you to others who might not need that feature because they trust you more. As for the audience who doesn't care about the feature, well, by being honest about your shortcomings like this, it can build even more trust and make them want to buy. They won't convert everyone, but that's when the next two types of content come in. Assuming you've already made some sales, and after the comparison guides, you should look at writing customer case studies. These are great for making sales from people who are on the fence, not because they don't believe in your product, more that they're not sure it can work for them. These people think that their situation is unique or different, but if you can show them people who are similar to the reader and their situation, well, then they'll start to believe it can work for them and they will buy. However, you need to be strategic about what you write in these and how you structure them, because most people write case studies wrong. It can't just be 2 paragraphs and then a result, what you did. It needs to tell a narrative instead and focus on the actual customer as the hero of the story instead of you being the hero. You need to cover who is the customer, what happened, what was their life like before, what is it like now, what did they try and how did it pay off. This way, the reader can then see themselves in the story, take action, and buy from you. Trust me, when you write like this, you can make sales like crazy. Check out my video in the description below to see how I did this, and I got over $3 million in client requests in 2 weeks with a single case study. It blew my freaking mind. That being said, there's one more article that we can write that can improve sales even further. So as you've seen so far, not everyone will buy from us right away. Some people want to make sure they're making the right choice, while others want to see if it can work for them. However, some people just have a specific objection that they need to get past. This will be common for most of your audience, especially when you start to try to attract broader groups and scale out. So how do we solve this? Well, some salespeople will take an objection and then try to position it as a positive. That's kind of like what we're doing in the comparison guides where we mentioned we didn't have specific features, but maybe we also said that, we don't have them because we don't need them and it saves the audience money. This is called reframing. We're basically trying to help someone see the objection from a new point of view. However, it's hard to get people to change their mind after we've already made the offer. So what we can do instead is something called pre-framing. This is where we address the common objections in advance before we ever make the offer. This works insanely well because if we can remove the objection first, they'll not only be closer to buying, but they'll also be looking for products that fit that solution that you've given them. For example, if we go back to my AI writing assistant course, then most people's objections when it comes to AI content are most AI content is bad, good AI content is either edited for hours afterwards, which is a pain in the ass, or it's written by tools that cost around $250 a month every month, which is expensive. I agree with them, so I decided to figure out how to fix all this. I won't bore you with all the technical details, but one of the methods that solves a lot of the issues is simply to not let the tool write on its own. It's not good enough yet. Instead, get it to write the article section by section with you providing feedback and direction. This way it makes the content unique and you can steer it clear of any quality issues. Obviously there's more to it than just that. But if I was to sit down and write a guide about the common issues with AI content, explain why they happen, why they're bad, give tips and advice on how to solve it, then the reader could see it works and would no longer have these objections that they would believe in AI content, right? In fact, they'd probably be very open to checking out my sales page once they understood the actual solution. So those are the first 3 types of posts that we prioritize. They're almost always low competition, they're easy to rank, and all of them improve the chances that any visitor to your website will buy from you. Now your website's more effective. So all we need to do is to get more traffic, which brings us to the next post in our series. How-to guides are the content marketer's best friend. They're easy to write, they get fairly decent search traffic, they can get backlinks because they're valuable, they teach people how to do things, and they can also help you get more sales. How? Well, the trick is to write around topics that tie into your offer in some way, if you can, and then lead the reader to both your offer and an email opt-in. So for example, if we look at this keyword here, how to humanize AI content. If you don't know what that means, humanizing is the term that's used to describe how people take bad AI content and then try to edit it to make it sound like it was written by a human instead. Honestly, it's a pretty shitty process. Oftentimes you're better off just writing the article from scratch as it takes less time and effort. Anyways, how could I write a post about this topic and then lead the audience to my offer? Simple. I write a guide with the top tips for humanizing AI content that they can try out. Then inside that guide, I point out that the best tip is to simply avoid humanizing altogether, kind of like what I did with the objection post. I show them how to do the basics of it, and then they'll try it and see how much better it works, because if they edit as they go, they don't have to do all the edits at the end. It's faster, it's easier, it's better. And by talking about this, I've now opened their eyes to a better solution that they probably weren't aware of. Some of them might even click through and buy right away. However, there's one more thing we can do to help increase the chances that people buy from us, and that's to get them to become an email subscriber. Email marketing is one of the most cost-effective channels you can have for making sales, simply because you can send people further content and help them get close to becoming a customer, all on automation without you having to be there. The trick, of course, is getting them to become an email subscriber. So how do we do that? Well, there's a bunch of different methods you can use. However, my favorite is something I created called the hyper-specific next step offer. The reason I love this technique is because it's insanely good and it adds value and builds trust. Most email opt-in methods convert around 2% of readers into subscribers. My lowest opt-in rate for this method is 15% and my highest performing is 83%. So yeah, it's insanely good. I cover this technique more in another video below, but here's how it works. Most people will give away something for free to collect the email. Usually something the audience wants, like a PDF or a video or something like that. They're usually quite generic and they're just linked to in multiple different articles, different pages. The thing is, if you go to the effort to make it a unique lead magnet for that page, and also make it so it's the next logical step that the audience wants to take, you'll get far more people take that opt-in. Hence the name, hyper-specific next step. The beauty of these is that they fit perfectly into how-to guides. For example, I've got a how-to guide where I talk about how to optimize your articles for SEO. Basically what to add and where so that Google understands what your page is about so you can rank easier. I walk through how it works and what you need to do. However, I also show them a way to do this with ChatGPT that's even easier by following one of the steps from my AI writing course. Basically, the tool will scan your page and then do the optimization for you where possible, and it saves you a bunch of time. So at this point, the reader definitely wants to optimize their page. It's probably what they're going to do as soon as they finish reading. And so by offering them a prompt to do this with the AI tool for free as a lead magnet and giving them a shortcut to do this thing right now, they just have to opt in and give me their email. And so people opt in like crazy. Like I said, this guide is still fairly new, but right now the opt-in rate is 15%, which is much higher than the industry standard of 2%. That means for every 100 visitors it gets, 15 email subs instead of 2. It might not seem like much difference, but imagine if that article gets 1,000 visits a month. Over a year, that's a difference of 240 subscribers or 1,800. And that's just for one article. Do this for each new how-to guide, and suddenly you have tens of thousands of subscribers that you can sell to, even on a fairly low traffic blog. Heck, do this well enough and you can even run paid traffic to articles at a profit, simply because those pages convert so high into subscribers and you know that X amount of subscribers become a customer and so on. I'm a big fan of doing this, and at one point I used to make $22 for every $1 spent promoting a blog post. However, that's a topic for another time. For now, let's look at how to get more organic traffic to our content by building even better backlinks. So, there's a lot of different methods of getting backlinks. Some are low effort but don't always work, like the method we mentioned earlier. We might log in every day but only see a good option once or twice a week to reply to. That's fine, it's only 5 minutes a day, it's not a huge time sink. Other methods we can use are simply reaching out to people and telling them about our topic. Tell them about the content and then hoping to get a link because they love it. I'll be honest, that's a bit hit and miss also. Out of 100 emails sent, you might only get 5 or 10 backlinks. And that's if your content is good and you're good at pitching people. So what's the best method? Honestly, it's to go out and build links yourself that link back to you. You go on other people's websites, you create content, and you make sure it has a link. It takes time to do, but you can secure absolutely huge links when done well. Now, there are 2 ways to do this. Option 1 is guest posting. We simply find sites that accept guest post articles or have been proven to host a guest post before. We figure out a topic they would want, we pitch them on the idea, and then we write that post for them that includes a link back to our site. As you can imagine, it's a little time intensive. Sure, we can write these with AI, but we still want to make sure the quality is on par with the other content to make sure it gets approved. In fact, I would argue that we should make it as awesome as possible, because if the content is great, you'll get seen as a thought leader and people will kick across to you. However, there's one other link building method that I like to use that's even better, which is to be a guest on podcasts. Basically, we find sites that have podcasts in our industry or parallel. We pitch them on being a guest. You go on the show, you talk about topics, and then you get links to your site as well as any articles you might have mentioned as a resource. It's super simple, but the reason I love this method is it only takes around 30 minutes to be on a podcast, which is much quicker than writing an awesome guest post. It's also easier to get on than you think. Some very large sites just don't allow guest posts at all from anyone. However, they have a podcast and they'll have guests on every week, and every week they link to someone in their show notes. Finally, podcasts build a lot of trust really fast, and they drive a heap of traffic from the fans that listen to the episode, which can mean almost immediate sales. No joke, but I use podcast link building like this and nothing else. I managed to take a brand new blog from domain rank 0 to domain rank 50 in 3 months. To put that into context, it usually takes most websites 4 to 5 years to get that powerful. This meant I could then target more competitive DERMs and start to rank for even more, increasing my traffic, going after more difficult articles. All done solo in my spare time. I have a video on this here that you can check out. Or check out all the links in the description below. I have videos for almost everything we've talked about in this video.